Okay, now reduce right. So it's the same thing as reduce, but the iteration will start from the end. So as you can see in this example, they just like flattened the array into the array of arrays into a single array, but starting from the right. So you see 4, 5, 2, 3, 0, 1. We can do this very easily. It will look very similar to the reduce. And first thing, let me do their example. So require underscore, and I will get the reduce right. Okay, now const list will be equal to array of arrays. Maybe I should call it matrix, but it doesn't matter. So, and 2, 3, 4, 5. What I will do, I will create a variable called flat, will be equal to reduce right, give it the list, and so each iteration we will have this is, I think this is the previous value. Yeah, let me check. Yeah, a is the previous value or the starting value. So I will start from empty array, and I will return the previous iteration result. I will expand in the new array I will return, and the current array. So this, so console log flat. Let me go to connections, node reduce right. So we see it as their result here. The implementation for it will be very, very similar to the reduce, but we need to get the keys or the indices and reverse them. So I won't just copy paste it, I will just re-implement it. I will try to explain what I am doing. So reduce right to will be equal to object function, so to equal a function that have these arguments and the memo and the context. First thing, I will check if this is an array. So is array will be equal to array dot is array, pass it to object. Maybe I should call it a list, but yeah, anyway. So let array holder and let array object holder. So if you don't pass a memo, it will start from the first iteration, and these two are helping me to do this, and at the same point pass the original object, which might be an array or a single object, to the function. I think you can watch the previous previous video about reduce. But yeah, so if you don't have a memo, I will check if this is an array. Memo will be equal to object dot shift, which will remove the first element and return it. So I wrote it wrongly. Let me just check the spelling. Yes, okay. And the array holder will be equal to the object expanded. So I will copy it inside the array holder. This is an array. Object itself is an array. And I will remove this. Sorry, I will add unshift. The memo. So I removed it here. Remove the first element stored in the memo. This will remove it from the array. Then I will add it. But before I add it, I will just copy the value, which I will start like this. Like this, I'm starting from the first element to the end. Anyway, so else const, I will start the first element from the array I will create right now from the keys of the object. Oops, this is keys from the object. Memo will be equal to object key, the first key, and object holder will be equal to a copy of the memory of the object, original object, and I will delete object holder key. Yes, I will delete this property. I think this is exactly the same thing here, but the thing what will change is the way that I iterate over them. So I would reverse the values of the array and then do these things here. But if this was an object, I will get the keys, reverse them, then loop. So this is the only difference. So if is array, I will loop through the object itself, or if that does not exist, oh sorry, the array holder. If that does not exist, I will loop through the object. Right? Because if you passed a memo, array holder won't be exist, and so this expression won't throw an error. I will say or object, the original list. I know the namings are confusing, but naming these kind of things, which this object could be an array or a single object, I think it's hard to name it. Yeah. Anyway, so after I have the array, so reverse. I hope I did not type anything wrong. And then for each, we will have two arguments to the callback function. The first one is the value. I don't care about that. I care only about the key, which is the index. What I will do, I will put memo will be equal to context. If that exists, function call the function with this context and pass to it the memo, the value at the current index from the array holder. If that does not exist, from the object. So like this. The fourth argument is the key, then the list itself, the object. And if we don't have a context, anyway, just call the function. Yes. I think that's it. But else, const, I will define a variable called to loop will be equal to object holder. If that exists, I will get the object keys from the object. Sorry. Yes, from the object. If that, then dot reverse. If that does not exist, I will get the keys from the object holder. Dot reverse. Keys, sorry. I think this is wrong. Yeah, if this does not exist. Then to loop for each. I don't care about the first argument. I care about the index, which I will name it as key. And memo will be equal to, first thing I'll check the context. If that exists, I will bind the function with call to the context. Then I will pass memo to loop key. So this is the current key. Then the key, then the object. Else I'll just call the function. At the end, I'll just return memo. Oops. So let me try to use the same example that they have. So reduceRight 2, flat 2. Oops. A is not iteratable. I think I passed something wrong. Where did I make a mistake? I'm checking. I already wrote this, so I'm checking if I did a mistake. Yes, of course. I'm passing the context, which is undefined, instead of the memo. Okay, so it works. I think I'm doing something wrong here, right? So to loop holds the keys. I should not pass this. I should pass the object holder or the object, the key, then the key. Yeah. This is make more sense. And like this. Anyway, but I won't show you an example for this. This is the main idea behind it. I think I made a mistake here. Yeah, I will change it in the repository. You can check the code. yeah, it's a little bit long, long, and yeah. Anyway.